Halo CE is an underrated classic, and it's my favorite Halo game. Everything from the aesthetics to the gameplay to the story to even the whack-ass multiplayer is honestly and truly really fun. This shit was and still is my jam, and today I'm gonna gush about all the ingredients that make that jam. Why did I write that? First-person shooters were uncommon back in the 2000s. They were mainly on PC for the mouse precision needed to aim and shoot. The best we had at the time was probably like 007 or Perfect Dark. And while both are great on their own right, aiming was a little funky. So when Halo dropped, it made a splash as one of the revolutionary console shooters because it literally invented the FPS control scheme for consoles. And the answer was so simple. Like a keyboard and mouse, you use this hand to move and that hand to aim and shoot. The innovation of CE's modern aiming control scheme made the game feel so much more fluid and natural to control, as it made things like strafing and aiming while moving, or even quickly repositioning during combat way easier. And the controls were fairly simple to pick up as well, but offers a lot of depth when you really get down to it. Actions feel tight and responsive, and there are many bits of polish not only in the controls, but also in the appeal as well. For example, jumping has a bit of momentum to it, but it's only applied when necessary. You won't be building momentum just jumping around normally, but there are things like jumping immediately after landing on a downward slope, launching you farther than normal. Or if you're changing direction mid-jump, you only slow down your horizontal speed, which adds a very subtle bit of immersion and depth into the game. I mean, you are a suit of heavy armor after all, so it only makes sense that the momentum can have an impact on you. But I want to bring special attention to aiming, shooting, and throwing grenades. Like I mentioned earlier, precise aiming with controllers is much harder than it is with the mouse and keyboard, and in order to combat this, the devs at Bungie implemented a few subtle aiming systems that make it easier to shoot the bad guys. When you're in combat, there's a very slight lock-on when you hover your crosshair over a foe, and it basically does some light tracking by keeping the reticle on them without your input. On top of that, they implemented bullet magnetism, which basically bends the bullets towards your foes with each gun, with each weapon having different homing variables, from the sniper rifle being a straight shot to the plasma pistol curving a lot, and even more so when you charge it up. Grenades also work a little differently in Halo. Most games give you the ability to hold your grenade to let it cook, with the idea that the grenade will explode before the enemy gets to react to it, but you can't hold grenades in Halo. Instead, you simply just throw the grenades, and they don't start cooking until it physically hits the ground, which changes the strategy of grenades from timing your throws to finding good angles to throw your grenades in a way that it makes it explode as soon as it reaches the enemy, without them having any chance to react. And what also adds a little bit more depth to it is the fact that it doesn't start cooking until it touches the ground. Not the wall, but the ground. Pretty fucking in-depth stuff. This isn't even mentioning the other side of the combat, how the enemies act and react to your actions. PvE combat feels dynamic in Halo CE because it's a whole bunch of little quirks that synergize together. For example, grunts are easy to kill, but you can also throw a plasma grenade on them, which causes them to panic and run towards their squad, which causes even more chaos. Elites are the opposite, as they instead opt to rush towards you once they've been stuck, to try and take you with them. They also actively go towards cover if it's available, only peeking out when they would go to shoot. They also command the grunts to go for coordinated assaults. Killing one will also cause any nearby grunts to panic and run around in fear a bit. Jackals will usually stay still behind their shield, and will always have it facing their foe. They start running away once you destroy their shield or get in melee range. Like, dude, you can shoot jackals through their shield if you aim at their hand. And the Flood. The Flood feels so different by comparison, as they always are charging towards you once you've been spotted, barely reacting to anything you do, which feels so much more oppressing. This shit is fucking dynamic, bro. You didn't see this shit back then. It was crazy. Dude, there's so much fucking depth in the fucking single player, bro. You can skip parts of levels if you can tank the fall damage. You can see the Flood and the Covenant actively fighting. You can, if you shoot an enemy with a grenade, they're gonna drop the grenade, but it's still gonna be active. And there's so much fucking environmental storytelling in this game. It's fucking crazy. if you couldn't tell, I play a lot of single player in Halo C. I don't have a lot of friends. Yes, I'm aware the game is janky as hell. I'm pretty sure everyone who's ever played Halo CE multiplayer knows this. The pistol is the best gun in the game. Vehicles cannot be destroyed, and you can get run over hilariously easily. And anything explosive will basically kill you with what feels like no fall off in damage. But I kind of like how it turns matches into chaotic messes. I always have a lot of fun playing CE's multiplayer, and while it always devolves to the well-established meta of pistol and grenade spam, constantly seeing bodies fly all over the place, people getting run over by a car barely moving, and hearing all the classic Halo death sound effects all over the place will never not be funny to me. I mean, you can see how crazy like this chaotic energy gets in Rat Race Capture the Flag, where the strategy is basically run in, throw all your grenades, and pray. It's honestly one of the most entertaining experiences for me, just due to the pure chaotic nature of it. All strategies thrown out the window, and everyone just goes monkey mode as they fucking chuck their grenades at the fucking capture point, just hoping to fucking kill someone. And while the later entries are way more polished and balanced, you know, cars don't actually kill you in one shot, like immediately, and the pistol becomes the weakest weapon in the game in Halo 2. I will always vouch for the unseriousness of Halo CE's multiplayer, because that shit is peak. It really gives off this vibe of casual competition made unintentionally goofy, and in a way, it kind of reminds me of Team Fortress 2 in a weird roundabout way. The fucking animation of the fucking Spartans dying and getting launched with their arms and legs flailing around. I don't know, there's something so inherently goofy about it. This fucking serious Spartan looking dude just flailing. But yeah, that's the multiplayer. I'm really here just to talk about single player. Also, there's like no one playing multiplayer anymore on Halo CE. For MCC collection, so you know. I really like Halo CE's story specifically, because I feel like it's one of the best games in the series at evoking emotions solely through gameplay alone. Just look at the first level, the Pillar of Autumn for instance. Things start off relatively chill with Master Chief waking up from his cryosleep and going through simple physical tests, which also act as a baked-in tutorial, teaching you the basics of moving and aiming through the demand of the narrative. Then, the Covenant take over the ship, which immediately kicks things into high gear as the rest of your orientation is straight up skipped as you rush to the bridge. A small detail that I really like is that this orientation slash tutorial is straight up skipped on the higher difficulties, which still makes it fit in line with the narrative and the gameplay. Narratively, makes the Covenant's surprise attack feel that much more impactful, cause you know, like if Chief woke up any later then he would have been killed in his cryosleep. And gameplay-wise, it puts you into the fray immediately with the assumption that you know how to play the video game, which also makes it less of a hassle for replayability too. As you're running over to the bridge where Captain Keyes is, you witness through gameplay the invasion happening as workers take up arms and try to lock down passageways to stop or at least delay the invasion, even if it means leaving some of their own to perish. You also see injured comrades patching their wounds as they are caught unaware and unprepared. And the worst part is that you can do nothing about it right now as you're unarmed and unable to fight. All of this leaves you feeling helpless and maybe even a little bit angry that you have to leave your comrades in this state. Or you could just like feel nothing, you know, as you are desensitized to war with all these fucking war games coming out. Once you're on the bridge, you're given a mission. Take this advanced AI, Cortana, with you and protect her from the clutches of the Covenant, giving you the weapon of mass destruction alongside her, the pistol, and a means of fighting back against the invasion. And from there, you fight, giving all you have against this alien race alongside your comrades, and it just feels great to tear a path with them at your side as you rush to the escape pods as more and more Covenant pour in. But as the fight rages on, things grow more dire as the Pillar of Autumn starts taking too much damage and escape pods grow thin, which really do a great job in making you feel more and more desperate to find an escape pod before it's too late. The introduction of the Covenant does a phenomenal job of not only putting you in the action, but also setting the stakes and tone of the whole game and subsequently the series. This isn't even mentioning the many bits of environmental storytelling all over the game. Like for example, how in some sections of the level, you can see some plasma barriers set up, suggesting that the Covenant are slowly pushing through. They don't need to explain that shit, you can just witness it. That's the power of environmental storytelling. That's probably going to be a script for another video, actually. That's a good idea. Thank you, myself, for coming up with this idea. The introduction of the Flood are another great example of evoking emotion. You're brought to this abandoned facilities to find this key to activate the Halo weapon. As you near the location, you see Covenant running for their lives in fear from it. Not even attempting to fight you at all, as their turrets and shields are left empty. Heck, they're not even shooting at you, they're just running past you. And if you're extra observant, you might have noticed that there's some friendly pings on your radar that will leave soon after. Or even seeing a glimpse of someone or something watching you.
Stay back! You're not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me! Ah! Ah! Don't touch me!
Which is weird, right? I mean, look at it. Something scrambled the insides.
What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident, you know, friendly fire or something?
What do we have, Sergeant?
Looks like a Covenant patrol. Badass elite units. All KIA.
Real pretty. Friend of yours?
Nah, we just met. I got a bad feeling about this. Arch! Listen!
What is that?
Where's that coming from,
Everywhere.
Mendoza?
I don't... There! Mira!
Hold still! Hold still! Let him have it! Sergeant, we're surrounded. God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon!
There are too many,
Don't
Sarge!
even think about it, Marine.
Oh, this is local!
Back here, Marine! That's an order!
Jenkins!
And this is only half the level. The other half sees you try to find a way out of this place, as your only way back now is unavailable. So you find another way to a different elevator, and just when you think you're out of here, the elevator goes down, plunging you deeper into the flood-infested depths. And worse yet, the whole facility is a maze of similar looking locations, which further add to the unease as you struggle to find your way out. There's some great environmental storytelling here, with all the blockades set up by the government suggesting that they tried and failed to keep the infection out, and even a spot where you can see that a soldier and a jackal set aside their differences and took a stand together on a blockade to fight for their lives, unfortunately ending in disaster. I absolutely hated this level as a kid because I definitely felt spooked, and the fact that this feeling is so prevalent all these years later speaks volumes of how brilliantly this level was crafted. One thing I should mention though, don't play any of it in the remastered graphics. The moody lighting of not just this, but every level kind of gets ruined and the colors get really washed out, which definitely dampers the carefully crafted emotional impact of them. Like, they removed all the fog. This shit ain't scary at all. This ain't Silent Hill. Damn. Kinda crazy that I talked about Hill without even mentioning the I don't need to explain how the music adds to each level's already amazing sequences, do I? Yes, I do, because any chance to talk about video game music is a chance I will gladly take. Man, the music of Halo is really something special, but for Combat Evolved specifically, every song felt impactful. I mean, the very first song you hear is just so iconic, it's basically become the main motif of the whole franchise as it captures both the highs and the lows of its music. One of my favorite Halo songs also debuted here, and it's a song that I never really paid attention to as a kid, but really grew on me as a slightly larger kid. The introduction of the Flood also comes with its own music, and it's very unlike anything you ever heard before, with its uniquely jarring sound that feels suppressive and overwhelming. There are so many examples of musical moments throughout Halo CE's campaign, and it really makes you appreciate the vast amounts of small details the devs at Bungie put into it, like how the main motif can be heard somewhere in the soundtrack. Or even the fact that a lot of the time there is no soundtrack, just ambient noise, which really sells the idea of being on an alien world, often by yourself. Now, Halo CE is a very stylish game, and I'd argue that the look has aged very well for its simple yet striking look. I'm not a character designer, but something that I hear a lot when it comes to creating characters is that they should be easily distinguishable from each other, to the point that you can tell who it is based on their silhouette alone, and Halo is no exception to this. From Human to Covenant to Flood, it is very easy to tell what you're looking at, and a lot of it can be attributed to the fairly simple designs that are pretty easy to recognize. Grunts are triangles that always bounce around no matter what they're doing. Jackals are circles with like a hunched over figure within it. Soldiers are people in armor. Crazy. Elites have the gamer posture with pointy heads and a beefier figure compared to the soldiers. The small Flood look like bits of popcorn. The Flood nurseries, which are like the bigger small Floods, they're like a big pulsing popcorn on two stubby legs. And the infected Flood are grotesque amalgamations of soldier and elite alike. And all of these features make for an instantly recognizable cast of friends and foes. The vehicles are also very cool looking and futuristic, with the iconic Warthog with its built-in turret, to the flying Banshee with its neat air trail it leaves behind, to the giant ass tank with very accident prone side seats. Even the guns are all unique and memorable in some way or another, from the classic duo of the assault rifle with a compass and live ammo count, and the pistol's sweet silver look and a poppy sound when it's shot, to the truly alien spiky and volatile Needler and shield-destroying plasma pistol, to the heavy hitters of the one-shot sniper rifle, the Flood decimating shotgun, and the very accident-prone rocket launcher. Oh, and the plasma rifle. It's not that good. The two most iconic designs by far, though, are Master Chief and Cortana. Chief is the physical embodiment of what it's like to be 6'2", as he is someone that is literally built different and covered head to toe in thick armor. It only makes sense that he will stand out. Like, who doesn't want to shoot up aliens in a full suit of armor looking like this? God damn, the aura of this man. Definitely the most iconic feature is the helmet. It's basically like the design of a biker helmet with prongs that stick out from the front, complete with a full face visor that completely obscures his face, and it drove the internet mad trying to figure out what he looked like under it. Cortana's design is also equally as cool. She's basically an AI companion that resides within your suit, and she's portrayed as a woman made entirely of code that is constantly changing and updating. Like, that shit's cool, bro. She doesn't appear in a lot of the game, but when she does, she definitely stands out. And even when she doesn't, she's still incredibly memorable, and the reason why is because of her personality. Cortana definitely makes her presence known, as she does most of the talking, which is a great contrast to Master Chief's near silence. As your navigator and companion, she strikes the perfect balance of pointing you in the right direction without being too overbearing or handholdy, and she can also turn up the sass when the situation calls for it. Master Chief is not a silent protagonist either. He's just very stoic, someone who only talks when he needs to, and that really adds to his character as a one-man army plowing through waves of adversaries. And it additionally adds a lot of mystery as to who Master Chief is as a person. I mean, he does get more character when 343 Industries started developing Halo 4, and supposedly he has more character in the Halo books. I don't have too much experience in that department though. But for Bungie-era Halo games, this was basically his personality. And Bungie actually did give a reason for this. They wanted to immerse you in the game by making Chief a stand-in for you, making him a vehicle for you to experience the game as if you were in the armor. Of course, we can't forget the other characters either. Captain Keyes is the first main NPC you meet, and one of the first things he does is give you the best weapon in the game. Like, come on, man. Everyone remembers his escort mission in the Truth and Reconciliation, and sure, it's a little annoying that you have to keep him alive, but the fact that he's fighting without any helmet and minimal armor in hallways and big open spaces with next to no cover, kind of badass, not gonna lie. I mean, even if it was annoying sometimes. He's a leader that actually leads instead of letting the men do the fighting for him, even at the risk of losing his own life. He even has a mission named after him, Keyes, where he's being held hostage from the Flood. And a neat detail that I was not aware of until recently was that in this mission, you can hear the captain in your comms talking to himself, saying his name and rank. The reason for this being that the Flood are interrogating him, trying to get him to spill important info by using their parasitic nature to force him to talk. And Keyes only saying his name and rank in response is his way of fighting back, even in this situation. With the state you discover him in later on, that is honestly such a fucking goated ass badass move. Like, holy shit, bro. 343 Guilty Spark sort of takes over as your companion for a bit as Cortana does some digging in Halo's archives. They're a little enigmatic, a machine that really only wants to accomplish their own goals. You meet them when they appear at the end of the maze, and it really feels like a sigh of relief because at this point, Cortana is in Halo systems trying to figure out its purpose, so you're basically alone until that point. And ironically, that's the point where you fucking meet the Flood. Clever game designers. They're a little vague when they explain how to destroy a Flood, only saying they have some kind of key and bring it to Halo's mainframe. It's only when Cortana comes back that Chief realizes what he's doing. Halo itself is a weapon, like the whole planet. I think that's how it is. Pretty sure that's how it is. And Guilty Spark's goal is to annihilate everyone on Halo, Flood or not. They become like a pseudo-villain as they try to pull this off with the help of an unknowing Master Chief. Of course, I can't talk about the personalities in Halo without mentioning the GOAT, the badass, the one and only Sergeant Johnson. In one word, Sergeant Johnson is a badass. He is the leader of the squad that appears occasionally in 343 Guilty Spark, but he also appears in a cutscene in the Pillar of Autumn, commanding his troops. But in Guilty Spark, you really get to know what kind of person he's like. Just take a look at the recording.
Why do we always have to listen to this old stuff, Sarge?
Watch your mouth, son. This stuff is your history. It should remind you grunts what we're fighting to protect.
Hey, if the Covenant want to wipe out this particular part of my history, that's fine by me.
Yeah, better it than us.
You ask them real nice next time you see them, Vicente. I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige.
Originally, Johnson was planning to be a one-off character, probably planning to get off at the end of the game, but he made such an impact that he quickly became a mainstay in the Halo series, and honestly that just makes his character that much cooler. Just the fact that he not only survived the Flood ambush and escaped from the maze, but also Halo blowing up is really telling of his resilience.
We regret being alien bastards. We regret coming to Earth. And we most definitely regret the Corps just blew up our raggedy-ass fleet. Hoorah!
Regret it?
How you doing? The brutes. The bastards who put bombs on your buddies and killed millions of my people. They're digging a mighty big hole. You're gonna tell me exactly what they're looking for, and then you're gonna help me stop them.
See how they bait their trap? I will help you spring it.
I'm getting you out of here.
No, you're not. Don't let her go. Don't ever let her go. Send me out with a bang.
Halo CE is truly a timeless classic, and it definitely deserves more recognition for laying the groundwork for future and past games to come. From the infinitely replayable music to the iconic design and set pieces, there is really a lot to love about the original game. But that's just me. What do you think about the OG Halo? Do you have any other thoughts about it, good or bad? I'm like 99% sure I missed some shit. So please tell me. I want to know. I want to know more Halo shit. Tell me more Halo CE facts and tidbits that I might have missed in this video. Please, I'm begging you. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that will be. Thanks for watching. Yay. That's fucking Jover. Now I have to fucking edit this shit. Let's fucking go!